Today I'm going to show you a Brazilian supermarket and the things that I found strange and a little shocking. And the supermarket I'm going to show you is called Zaffari or Bourbon, and you can find these supermarkets in the state of Rio Grande do Sul in the south, and also they've got one or two in Sao Paulo. So the first thing that shocked me when I went to the supermarket for the first time was the amount of checkouts and the amount of staff as well. So you can see nearly all the checkouts are manned by staff. You can see a couple of self-checkouts there, but for the majority you can see you've got a checkout person and then also another person packing the bags for the customers. And these days in Sweden and the UK and many other countries, it's the opposite. You've got lots of self-checkouts and only a couple of checkouts where you've actually got staff. And also another thing is that the majority of supermarkets in Brazil still use a lot of plastic bags. So you can see the majority of checkouts here, they're still packing all the groceries in plastic bags. I mean, you can buy reusable bags, but the majority of customers don't do that. And also the staff that help to pack the groceries, most of them, they just put a couple of items into each plastic bag, which means that when you come home you've got a million plastic bags, each one just with a couple of items in it. And it's just crazy how many plastic bags are used in Brazilian supermarkets. And that's completely different to Sweden and many other countries where nearly everyone uses reusable bags. Okay, another thing that I found a bit strange was the non-food items that a lot of these bigger supermarkets in Brazil sell. So they sell TVs and domestic appliances, which is very common in supermarkets around the world, but then they also sell some other things, which I wasn't expecting. One thing is a whole aisle of air conditioning units for sale. You've got some big units here, so the one on the left here, the LG one, that's 24,000 BTUs. And the price for that is 5,900 reais, which is just over $1,000. And then you've got smaller units, the smallest one being 9,000 BTUs. And the price of that is 2,500 reais, which is $430. So yes, you definitely don't see a whole aisle of air conditioning units in supermarkets in Sweden. And then another thing is Havaianas or flip-flops. So you can see you've got a whole aisle, and even more than an aisle, just full of various types of flip-flops. I mean, the most famous one is Havaianas, but I think a lot of these are other brands. And I think, yeah, the majority of Brazilians have at least a couple of Havaianas at home, that's for sure. And then talking about another thing that Brazilians love, and that is barbecues. So this supermarket sells everything you need for a barbecue. So you've got small barbecues and all the utensils, and then knives and the grills, and then chopping boards and serving boards. So yeah, barbecues are very important for Brazilians, and you can buy everything you need here in the supermarket. And then going to the next aisle here, you've got beach chairs. A whole aisle here of beach chairs, which basically every Brazilian here in the south brings to the beach. So it's very rare here in the south to see anyone just lie on a towel on the beach. Now everyone needs to sit in these chairs. And on the other side, on the right, you've got the cooler boxes for drinks, which again a lot of Brazilians bring to the beach. So they fill it with ice and put in beers, soda, soft drinks, and they take that to the beach. Okay, so now let's have a look at some of the food that as well I found a bit strange. So let's start in the meat section, which is one of the most important, I think, sections for Brazilians. And what shocked me here was the amount of meat on offer, especially the beef. So you got the usual cuts of meat and then minced beef as well. So this one here is minced steak, which is 36 reais, which is $6. Like I said, this supermarket is a bit expensive, but you can find minced beef for like $2-3 for 500 grams. What I wasn't expecting was the amount of other cuts of beef that the supermarket sells. You can see here all of this is beef, a lot of it is barbecue meat, and you've got the most famous one, which is picanha, which is this one here. So in English that is the top sirloin cap or rump cap. So this one here I picked up at 70 reais for about 1 kilo, which is about $12. So I mean, you can find cheaper picanha for less than $10, but then you can also find much more expensive ones which cost nearly $20. So yeah, barbecuing these cuts of beef are very popular here in Brazil. And on the other side, in all the freezers here, you've got the frozen meats. So now let's have a look at the fruits, and you've got some really weird varieties of fruit which I've never encountered before. So this one here is caju, which is the cashew fruit. So this is where you get the cashew nut from, but then you can also eat the fruit. And this has a bit of a peculiar taste. I mean, it's relatively sweet, but I don't know, I find it slightly weird. And this one here is kiwano, which in English is the African horned cucumber or the jelly melon. And it's called that because of the jelly-like pulp inside of it. So it comes from the cucumber family. And this has got a mild sweet taste. It tastes a bit like a cucumber mixed with a lemon, I guess I would describe it. And then this one here is mangosteen. This has got quite a tangy taste. I kind of like it. And then you got this one here, which is kaki, which in English you can call persimmon. And this I really like. This has got a very nice sweet taste to it. And finally here on this shelf you've got the papaya, which Brazilians eat a lot, especially for breakfast. And you can buy a whole fruit, or you can buy these ones which have been split. And if we walk over to this other section here we've got Brazilian avocados. And you can see they're much bigger here than the avocados that you're used to in the States and in Europe. And then you've got maracuja, passion fruit. So this is very popular to make juices and also desserts and bake with it as well. And then you got this thing here, which is the cacao fruit. So you can eat the pulp inside. I'm not a big fan of the taste here. And then also there isn't that much of the pulp. The seeds take up most of the space inside. And obviously use the seeds to make chocolate. So some of you have been asking about organics in Brazilian supermarkets. I just want to show you here. So this whole aisle here is organic fruits and vegetables. So this chain of supermarkets has quite a lot of organic food. And I just want to show you this. You've got these staff here who just weigh the fruit and vegetables that the customers have selected. I don't understand why you don't weigh the fruit and the vegetables at the checkout, or the customer weighs it themselves, which is very strange. And if you look at the breakfast aisle, here one thing you'll see is they have very little breakfast cereals. All they've got is this little bit here, and then beyond that they've got some muesli, and that's it. So I mean, a lot less than you would have in the States and the UK and Sweden, that's for sure. So yeah, eating cereals in the morning is less common here in Brazil. And then obviously you need milk for your breakfast cereal, and this here is the fresh refrigerated milk section. You can see it's tiny. And then at the bottom here you've got milk in a bag. I mean, I'm all for kind of reducing packaging and waste and all that, but I've never understood this milk in a bag, because I mean I bought it a couple of times, and every time when I try and open it and then pour it into another container in order to store it, I always make a mess and I never manage to do it properly. So yeah, I found that funny when I saw milk in a bag. Now the reason why the fresh refrigerated milk section is so small is because majority of Brazilians, they buy milk which doesn't need refrigeration. So all of this aisle here and next aisle as well is milk in a carton which doesn't need refrigeration. So milk has been pasteurized and processed in a way so it doesn't need to be stored in the fridge. And again, you don't have much of that in Sweden and the UK, but you do see that a lot in Southern Europe. And the same applies to cream, so the whipping cream and double creams and all of that. Again, the majority of it is non-refrigerated. They also have a lot of this condensed milk, which they use to make sweets, especially something called brigadeiro, which are these little sweet balls that they love to eat. And then further along, another thing that they have a lot is this powdered milk. Now, a lot of it is for kids to drink, but then also adults use it as well. So they put it into coffees, they bake with it, they make lots of sweets with it as well. So that's also very popular. And then we come to another very important section in the supermarket, and that's the rice aisle. So Brazilians eat a lot of rice. So on the left here is just plain white rice. You can buy some big bags. And then on the right here you've got the whole grain brown rice and various varieties. And at the end here you've got something called cesta básica, which I'd never seen before, which is just full of some basic things like flour, sugar, coffee, some biscuits and milk. And I've seen quite a few people buy these to kind of donate to charities, and I've done that a couple of times. Okay, and then if we go to the next aisle, here you've got the beans. So the staple diet for a lot of Brazilians is rice, beans every day, and then some meat or something. So here, this aisle here is just beans, and you've got lots of different varieties. I mean, the most common one is the black bean, but then you've got lots of other types of beans. So this one here is called feijão óleo de cabra preto, which translates as the black goat eye bean. So you've got some very weird varieties of beans that you can buy here. And then next to it, you've got something called farofa, which I would describe as, it looks a bit like and Brazilians love to eat it with the barbecued meat. And then these packs here, which look like ice cream, but it's not ice cream, it's acai. This is a small purple berry, which they process, and they mix it with sugar and sometimes some other fruits as well. And this is actually very delicious. I'm a big fan of acai. And then if you go to the canned food aisle, so obviously they got the usual sweet corn and peas and all of that. But then they've got lots of jars here as well. And they've got something called palmito, which is heart of palm. You can see here they've got a big section of this. And they've got some jars with some big chunks and then smaller chunks. And you've got some here which can be made into spaghetti shapes as well. So this is also very popular. And another thing they put into jars are eggs. So they've got these eggs preserved in a jar. And yeah, all I can say is I do not like the taste of these at all. And then we've got this big section here. These big bags, and this is shimahome. This is erva mate, and a majority of Brazilians in the south, they love to drink this. So they pour this erva mate into this cunha, which is this kind of wooden cup, and then they pour hot water into it, and then they use this metal straw to drink the erva mate. Now, I still can't drink this, I'm still not used to this taste. But yeah, a lot of Brazilians here in the south of Brazil love to drink this shimahome. And what I find funny is they drink it even in summertime when it's like 40 degrees outside, and you still see them going around drinking this shimahome. And on the other side we've got coffee, and you can see the amount of coffee for sale. So yeah, Brazilians drink a lot of coffee, they love the little cafezinho. So yeah, it's a bit less common for Brazilians to drink big cups of latte, they prefer their little small cups of coffee. If you look at other drinks, lots and lots of soda or soft drinks, with all the big brands. But there is one brand which you don't see much outside of Brazil, and that's Guaraná, which I think tastes really nice. It's just made out of this small red little fruit from the Amazon rainforest, and it tastes very good. And on the other side of the aisle here, you've just got juice. You've got so many different types. So one juice you see a lot of here in the south is grape juice. Now, I'm not talking about grapefruit juice, I'm talking about grape juice. So you can see all these bottles here are grape juice. So yeah, they drink a lot of grape juice. And next to it you've got coconut water as well. Again, very, very popular. And if you go to these other aisles here, more juice. You've got all types of fruits, again more grape juice here, but then orange juice, apple juice, and some unusual ones as well. So you've got a cashew fruit juice here as well, passion fruit juice, and so you've got lots and lots here. And if you look at alcoholic drinks, so lots and lots of beer. You've got all the famous brands, so Corona, Heineken, Stella, Budweiser. So they've got the majority of the big brands here. And on the other side here on the right, here you can see all the craft beers. So made by the smaller breweries. So that's growing to become a very big thing here in Brazil. And then you got all the wines and sparkling wines. And one thing that shocked me here was the amount of Brazilian wine there is. But so I had no idea that Brazil makes wine, but now that I've tasted quite a few, and it's pretty good actually. And here in the south of Brazil you've got some really big vineyards. So I was actually pleasantly surprised by Brazilian wines. Okay, so those are the things I discovered in a Brazilian supermarket. Like I said, this supermarket that I just showed you, Zaffari, is a bit upmarket, so the prices are relatively high. And there are cheaper supermarkets of Carrefour, and then you've got Costco-style supermarkets as well called atacados, and that's where you find the lowest prices. And maybe I'll do another video showing you one of those. So hope you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe, if you've got any questions or anything, leave in the commentary below. So thanks for watching, until next time.